Hey, you. Welcome to my podcast. Do you like amebo, unsolicited advice, and very unconventional opinions about Christianity, mental health, and psychology? Then you're in the right place. It's Monday Morning Brand with Miss James H&M. Let's go. Welcome. Welcome, my favorite listener. Welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Rant with Mercy. And it's officially the first Monday in the month of May. So, happy new month, everybody. I wish you a very pleasant and very nice month. And two of my favorite people are celebrating their birthdays this month, and many others. So that it not be as if it's not be as if I'm being partial. I have a lot of friends that are celebrating their birthdays in the month of May. So in advance, happy birthday. I hope you have a very nice month. Anyways, you already know we say anyways. Welcome to Monday Morning Rants. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for choosing to be a part of this very wonderful family of love. I love this family. Hey God, I don't know why. What I want to say today, na serious talk. Oh, I can't dey playful mood like this. Anyhow. Welcome. Thank you for choosing to listen to me and all my listeners, permanent listeners, the ones that always hyping me, the ones that as one episode is dropping like bam, they don't the honk moko, they grab them. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for encouraging me. And Mona de chai. You go see good thing. Good thing. You know go fish share am with your friends. Eh? This ah, I'm your surest plug for unsolicited advice, but you have refused to share this link with your friends. It's not just to post because I noticed that posting link on status, most people just scroll and pass. Everybody just pester them, tell them, see, especially the ones that always coming to meet you for advice. Come advise me this thing. If it's something I already said or spoke about in my Monday rants, just tell them, oh yeah, take link, check them, go and listen to this podcast. It will just answer the question of what this plenty talk you're asking me. You save yourself a lot of saliva, a lot of stress, because I've already spent the saliva on your behalf. I spent the wahala on your behalf. Just send my link to this person. Let them listen and get their questions answered. So please don't just share. It's not just to post the link and just, tell them this one na better thing. More na listen to am. You go enjoy am. It go bless you. All join. I know God is taking us higher, it's taking us to higher places. We're going global. Um we already have audience in more than 7 countries. Yes. Yes. Don't ask me how many in each country. Don't ask me. We shall have in 7 countries. Abi, it's a win. A win is a win. If you ask me, a win is a win. Sha, today, let me just go straight to what I have to say today because why am I in a playful mood? It's serious talk. Oh. What I'm talking about today is overcompensation. Overcompensation means a defensive mechanism where an individual attempts to mask or counteract feelings of inadequacy or weakness in one area of life by achieving excellence or dominance in another area. So let me explain it now. The Unibo plenty. It means okay, you're short in an aspect, or you have an experience, a bad experience in a particular aspect of life. So you go the opposite direction, which is the positive now, and now try to exert that positive side a little too much, like you overdo it to make up for the bad or to make up for the bad experiences you've had. And overcompensation can span to different things, like different aspects of life. It can almost it choke family, career, esteem, personal growth, personal improvement. It covers a lot of areas. What I discovered is that it always spans from a negative experience. When you see somebody now, let me just paint a picture so that it's easier for you to get what I mean. For instance, you see somebody now that says, "Ah, I don't wear this particular hairstyle anytime it's rainy season over my dead body. Lie, I no go fit. Once it's rainy season, I always and even if no matter the hairstyle, I will always have my hair cover in my bag and this and that." You now ask them, why you can't carry this thing serious like this? There's always a story of a bad experience that came from that thing the person is trying to avoid so desperately. You know, as the person, this one now is actually true story, true story. The way I'm saying it, go be like say. So imagine doing packing gel and rain that beats you with packing gel. And you know that time back then, packing gel they use this very black that black gel, the one that if water touches it like this, the thing will just wash all over whatever it is. So rain beat her with packing gel on her head, and then there was nothing she could use to cover herself, no means of protection. You get some kind of rain we go beat you. Oh God. One rain beats me one day. You go wash your mouth. You go wash you. Like you will feel clean. Because to wash you from head to toe, everything clean and sparkling. So she got beaten, and the rain washed all the gel over everything she was wearing, and the clothes sort of had white and everything just spoil. Everything just spoil. And then she was looking slimy. Everything was so that bad experience now is why consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously, once rainy season comes, she will never ever until she buys a car decide to do packing gel or go out of her house, even if it's not packing gel, without something to protect the hair from water. So now, if we bring it home, there are many things that we can relate to, that we have bad experiences in, and inevitably we've started overcompensating for those things. Now, the point of this rant is not to, I'm not trying to um, make it look as if maybe me, I don't sabi all these things. No, you see, it's a joint. In fact, the one I want to talk about today it almost feels like a generational overcompensation. It's something I feel most millennials can relate to based on trauma. Not just trauma. You know, there's how I feel some traumas are generational in the sense that there's a there's a group of people that can relate more to some things more than some group of people. For instance, now this from you see from that year 2000 upwards, 2000, 2000, all the people they born in that year, there are some things they can't relate to, in the sense that the parents in that time or at that time had started loosening up in some kind of areas, in some kind of things, so they can't relate to this some of these things. When you even say it, some people cannot relate. All these Gen Zs, they cannot relate to some things, but those things they cannot relate to. There are also things in their own time, in their own growing and childhood that we cannot relate to, we millennials cannot relate to. If you now take it back again, the Gen X people and the boomers, there are things that we millennials also cannot relate to that they can relate to based on things they experienced in that time. And the world keeps evolving, things keep changing. And I feel each generation and these traumas and how it evolves and evolves is um how do I put it, that different types of trauma keeps. If you check from the Gen X, that's our parents now, we millennials, there are some things that happened to them that didn't happen to us. But because they protected us so much from those things that happened to them, like, ah, no, 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 this thing, no, it cannot happen to my child. We now experienced some other form of trauma as a result of them overcompensating for what they experienced. Hmm. I can't dey feel like lecturer now, but I hope you get what I mean. So sometimes the trauma of a new generation is the overcompensation of the old generation. Mercy, spitting words. Mercy, spitting words. Shey una dey get me. So some things, for instance, now let me sharply paint this. If you ask many of our parents, but we millennials, if you ask your parents, many of them either had to live with an uncle, an auntie, not just because they lost their parents early, not just that, but because of financial reasons sometimes. So you ask your parents, you discovered some of them had to um work early. They had to start working early. They had to either learn a trade or get a job early. They had to find a way to fend for themselves. And not just that, they had to live with people that were not directly family. So, because of some of those things, me, I'm speaking now from the stories I've heard amongst the Gen X and the boomers around me that have heard their stories. Like, that's the older generation, 60 upwards, 50 upwards. The stories I've heard them talk about back home, and I know many of them can relate to this. They had to live with one uncle, live with one auntie, had to legit work for the things they had, work for even meals sometimes. So the way some of them overcompensated for that was that we millennials now, some of us cannot relate to, some of us still can, but because some of those things will not end with them, it is kind of move forward a bit. But for those who cannot relate to that aspect, they now ended up with very overprotective parents, like parents that, yeah, I want to get inside from millennials, plenty. You cannot 6 p.m. you must be home. Some of us had curfews until you got married. Like, even if you were 30 something when you got married as a millennial, you must still get home by 6 p.m. They didn't give us freedom, and you want to go and visit your. Then another thing was that is that many of us don't really have a good rapport relationship with our aunties and uncles. Like, you don't really go and visit them. I'm not saying this on a general note now. I'm not saying, like, it's not a general thing. I'm just talking about the aspects that I want to talk. Sure, you get. I know some of you have good uncle. Congratulations. You have good aunties. Congratulations. We don't have good relationships with our uncles and aunties because of the things our parents experience in the hands of their uncles and aunties. And they're like, oh, no, and then some of them have issues amongst, some kind of quarrels and fights amongst their siblings and stuff, so that's sort of extended to us. So we don't have good relationships with our cousins, we don't have good relationships with our aunties and uncles because they're overcompensating for the things they experienced in their own time. So you even when you go home for holidays and stuff, everybody's just, this thing I'm saying is not all of you that can relate, but most millennials understand what I'm saying. You can't, like, there's no free, there's a sort of restriction to freedom when you're amongst extended family. And then move down now to the Gen Zs. You notice most of them had more freedom because now coming down, some of their parents are not just, I can't say they are millennials, but like enlightenment and then overcompensation from some of those traumas that have now moved and it keeps evolving. So for some of them, they had uninvolved parents, the ones that gave them, oh, you want to go out and come back tomorrow, go and come back. And it's even the one we are still having now, like the Gen Alphas and the Gamma and the Betas, the ones that we are born in now. You see a 4 year old, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I believe I've painted a picture now to make you understand where I'm going to. So I'm going to mention some few things that I feel. we as millennials and maybe let's say maybe Gen Zs, and yes, even the Gen Xs that might listen, because whether you like it or believe it or not, I have Gen Xs that are listening to my podcast. That's my mommies and daddies, the 60 pluses, the 50 pluses. So I'm going to be talking about some things I feel we overcompensate for as a generation of, I don't know. Mostly I'm relating to millennials, but I'll still try my best to expand it to both Gen Zs and Gen Xs. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to point out that we're overcompensating for is marriage and relationships, like romantic relationships. And I will explain. So for marriage, I feel one way we're overdoing it is this idea of monetizing marriage. Like, I will marry, I will not marry for love, I will marry for money. I will not marry for kinikon, I will marry for this. Then you hear some people say the opposite, like money does not bring happiness. But most millennials now, when you hear them talk, it has relationship equivalent to the money standard. Um, then the whole all men cheat, everybody cheats. Just find your own poison and let you people manage yourself. Nobody's perfect. All of that. So it's not just the money part. There are many things, but I'm focusing on the money because that's the one that is popular now. And where does that stem from? You discover, mm, you see children, millennial children that grew up with money don't say things like this. You don't hear somebody that has wealthy parents coming and say, I'm going to marry for money. Many of them actually don't even want to now marry. You know, they try to marry each other, like marry into each other so that money can enter money. You get it? And then you now see someone and they're like, no, I want to marry for love. I want to fall in love. So for them, it's the opposite. So when you see many people that say this, or more, money is the most important thing. If love does not have money inside, it cannot be sweet. Me, I'm going to marry for money. Nothing concern me with love. Now, mumu, they love. You would think all this thing is whining bad, but there are actually some people that believe what they are saying. You know, some people are just following trend. It's Twitter trend. It's skinny cut top. There's some people that are saying it and actually are doing it. Like once a guy doesn't have some sort of money or some sort of financial stability, they're like, oh, come on, my friends. Nothing concern me with love. Feelings aside, marriage is a contract. Where does this stem from? Because it is an overcompensation. You discover people that say things like this grew up without money or grew up with little money and saw how their mothers had to struggle. Loved the dads, oh, truly, because many millennials have parents that are still married, 30, 40 years in marriage, they're still married. But that doesn't stop them from seeing the fact that, oh, my mom was the one that struggled to raise us in school. My dad was not doing anything. My dad was broke. My dad did not have money. My dad was struggling to work, but the money was not, all those things. And the truth is, when a child now sees all these things, like, oh, mommy, I no go do this kind of thing way my mama do, where would they suffer like this? So the overcompensation now evolves into them putting money ahead of everything else. So they don't even think about the fact that, oh, my mother did all of this because she loved my dad. And there were times my dad too had and took care of my mom. It blinds some people from the positive. I almost said the positive side of poverty, but no, that sounds wrong. But what I mean is like the positive side of those marriages. It now makes it so that they put money and financial stability ahead of it because they didn't have it. So if you are listening to me and you also have the idea of, I'm going to marry for money, not concern me with love. Trauma, 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 trauma. Is it many of us we actually need therapy, but the problem is it's expensive in this side of the world. So you better listen to my podcast now. I'm your Pajawiri therapist to hold this tight. hold everything I'm saying because thought this is except so when I finally get my degree now and I start booking you people for sessions, so now go they pay will not be free of charge. So this one will be free of charge now better hold am. So if you have that idea that marriage is truly a contract, I get it in a way, in a sense, but that feeling you have that makes you put money and financial stability ahead of everything else. So the guy is beating you, the guy doesn't have sense, the guy is nonchalant. Plenty things is wrong with him, but he has money. So you're like, fine, I'm gonna marry him. You are overcompensating for your trauma. You didn't grow up with money. And once I just see you saying that thing, I just know you grew up without money or little money or average money. You can never hear somebody that came from plenty money saying, me, nothing consign me with broke guys. I'm going to, So, yes, it's just the honest, just the honest truth. I'm going to have another episode where I talk about, okay, how do you balance out effectively reacting and dealing with your trauma in a way that you don't overcompensate. You are just in the middle, balanced. That one na for so today I'm just telling you now so that you know you have problem. That sounds wrong, but yes, so that you know there's a problem somewhere in your wiring, in the wiring your head or your mind that you need to correct. And then the ones that feel men always cheat. Eh, marriage is scam. You hear things like you just know. You just know they are overcompensating for something. Number one, either they had useless fathers or useless mothers, or I don't want to say, and now I sound harsh, but yes, you get parents that were not around or were not available, or a father that was cheating so much that it was visible to the children, or a father that was so out of place that the mother had to pick up all the pieces all the time, or a situation where one partner, the father looks drained and empty, but the wife is looking fresh and shiny because my money is my money, nothing concern me. So you see all those, you hear guys too now saying, Omo, me, I'm not marrying a girl that thinks like this. Nothing concern me because they saw the father having to drain himself financially. The woman had money that she could at least at some point helped him out at least to cater for some things because he was feeling drained and drowned in bills. But she's like, no, my money is my money. So all of this thinking you are overcompensating for, and it is a trauma response. So know that and have peace of mind. Another thing I'll talk about is in friendship. And for friendship, sometimes it can be tricky because everybody wants to talk about romantic relationship, but I'll point out for friendship when you see people now that either are always the ones putting themselves out. Don't get me wrong, there are people that are genuinely just naturally nice and but that one, there's a line, like there's a separating line, and that line is boundary. That's how you know that, okay, it is not overcompensation. This is just person being naturally nice. You see people that have friends that are so bad, like horrible friends. Friends that everybody knows, these people are not your friend, or they hate you secretly. But this person keeps pouring into these people, pouring into this. You just know it is a trauma response. And I will just share my personal story and how I know that you are overcompensating and it's a problem you have to fix before you drown yourself with people that don't love you. And not just drown yourself, they are the ones that will fetch the water that you drown in because you're around people that don't love you, people that hate you. This one is not even they are faking. They genuinely hate you. I've heard stories, I've seen things. Friends that know this one is out to get you. But you see the person still, we are friends, we are cool, we are kiniki. So primary school, I had this, you know how primary school friendship can be tight and people just like each other. So I had this seatmate in class and we were just close. She was nice to me. I was nice back to her. We shared everything. We used to hold each other's hand around school. We used to do all of that. My bestie, primary school standard. And it looked like we were the like outlier. How will I put it now? Yes, like me and her could relate more because some of the other kids that were in cliques, mean girl cliques, came from the kind of background we didn't. So I could relate more to her than everybody else. So she was my friend. So one of those days we were just normal now. Everybody they gossip. Primary school. Ah, see this girl, see how she's doing. See Kiniko Kiniko. Then I can't remember around this what exactly I said to her, like gossiping about somebody else. And then this girl takes what I said, goes straight to the person I said it. I'm like, gossip banter na primary school. And then reports to the teacher what I said. I got flogged so bad for it. And oh my God, that thing affected me so much. Like I now discovered throughout, like if I think back now, from that moment, I think I was in like primary three or primary two. From that moment till I left, I didn't really have any close friend. For me, I'm just like, oh, I can always be kind to people. I can always be nice to people. But bringing people close enough for you to hurt me, nah, not gonna happen. And I did that up until secondary school. Then secondary school, at some point, I had close friends here and there. And then somehow, you're just that person that everyone, Messi is my friend, but not like my closest friend. You get like I just always managed to be the one leg in everybody's lives where I'm not a mean person. I'm not mean to you, but I'm not your ride or die either. So if you need help, you can get help from me. If I need help, I can get help from you. But it's not that some kind of friendship where we are tight. And I tried it again and then it just see. So it took me up until maybe just 3 years as one. And I'm someone that became very self-aware early in life because I loved reading. I read a lot, especially psychology related stuff. So I discovered, oh, this was a problem. So I started trying, okay, let me have a bestie, let me have a close friend and all of that. So my point of sharing this story with you now is you'll be surprised how far back eh, the memory of why till now as an adult you are still overcompensating for that thing. You'll be surprised how far back the memory, how far back it happened to you. Like maybe you were 6, 7, and that thing has lingered in your life so much. And you now sit down sometimes be like, I just have trust issues. Where did the trust issues come from? Sometimes you cannot really, really tell. You just, I'm just like that. You're not just like that. Something happened in your wiring that you need to correct back. And for some of you, it happened even in your adult life. Maybe you dated somebody that don't have sense. You have friends that don't have sense. And okay, my own aspect now of overcompensation is that I withdrew from people. For some people now, the other side is that they feel, oh, maybe there's a way I can make this person love me. So they overdo, pour out themselves. They can't say no to anything, even when it's hurting them, because they're like, okay, this person will love me. Most of the time, that one is for people that didn't have friends at all. Like everybody just managed to always elude them. Like they felt excluded from everybody in class. Everybody, you were the one everybody was laughing at. You were the one that was always bullied. So they feel if I love them enough, they will love me back. So if you are still doing that now in your adult life, you are overcompensating for that trauma and you need to fix it. It needs to be fixed. So I'm telling you, I'm lining it up now, all the problems. We'll be fixing it later, but let's just line it up. Another aspect of overcompensation that I feel is prone to we millennials is financial aspect, the financial aspect. And this doesn't only come from the fact that many of us grew up without money, it also comes from the fact that many of us have not really experienced, that comfort that comes from having a lot of money. So there are different, like I said, with the friendship part, there are two sides sometimes to overcompensating. For some people now, when it comes to financial things, mm, because you have not touched money before, you are akagum now that you have sort of money because you are scared. There's that fear of, oh, where I'm coming from. Oh, the days when I did not have, the days of poverty, I don't ever want to go back there. So you overcompensate in your financial decisions to take risk, even if they are telling you this business will boom. No, you will rather hold that money and save it. Let it be looking at you as you're looking at it in your savings account. Make her they see my money. Nothing consign me with CBEX, nothing consign me with crypto, nothing consign me with GTCO, nothing with shares. Me, I'm not doing anything. Before my money will disappear and I'll become poor again. Let me put my money in my savings account. Make her they look am, make it they look me. Opay, I no go fit put money wey pass 20k inside Opay just in case, you get. So you overcompensate. You are so scared of going back to that place where you didn't have. You are too scared to make any profitable financial decisions. If you see people that say things like, all of it chatting real estate, me, I cannot put my money, I'm not doing. That's how I go and buy land now. The thing we now, the weekend we now come and demolish the house after 2 days. I'm not doing. Once you see people that are always doing, I'm not doing. No, there's a good part too of understanding finances and knowing that some risks are not worth taking. I get that part. But I mean the one where you never do anything, you never take any risk, anything that we mean you have to let go of the money in your hand, including giving. Some of us are still doing 100 naira offering in 2025. If that's what you have, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Please don't get me wrong. But you have 500k, 700k in your account, and somebody calls, please, I need 5k, I beg. My brother, this Tinubu Kenina, all of us they do. Me self no get, I swear. Voila, no get the money. Keniko, Keniko. You are never willing to open your hand and give out the money in your hand because you are too scared. I don't want to go back to where I'm coming from. So all the money I have, I protect it. You price and price and price. You know, you get some kind of money where you go enter your hand, you go stop, they do some kind things like the price markets, the overprice. Aboki say pineapple is 500. You say, I feel pay 250. I feel there's some kind of money where go enter your account so you know supposed to they do those kind things. But when you see somebody that overcompensates for the lack of finances in their past, it was traumatic, and now they are reacting to that traumatic experience of not having money. They keep doing, they will keep pricing and pricing and pricing, even when they can afford to even dash this aboki 2k, like take and use it to do merriments for today. No, they must calculate. And that's why some of you have mean bosses that have millions, that have billions, but they will still be begging you to collect 30k salary because in his head he has calculated to the last kobo, even with all that millions in his accounts. It is overcompensation. The other aspect now is for those that have never tasted money before, and then money now enters their hand. They're like, yeah, now so it dey happen for here, and then they begin to squander everything they feel they didn't have before. They've never done, they've never tasted in their life. They want to taste everything. So they begin to spend extravagantly and foolishly. They begin to, go partying. I don't see why you will go somewhere. And because Ishegun Johnson singing, is it Shegun Johnson? I don't know. He's singing Mafisi Akpawon. You do not know when you sprayed him 1 million naira. Ah, and that's all the money you have in your account. You just know. In a way, it is overcompensation. You want to feel the life of luxury you used to look at and admire, like, see as this person they spend money, me self one day. So even when you never reach, your hand never reach finish, you're trying so hard to prove a point that me self I get. You're living fake life. Overcompensation for poverty. Mm-hmm. Hey, he choke. See, this aspect of overcompensate, the one way they shock me now, the child rearing or child upbringing part. You see a lot of millennial parents, like those of us now that are millennials that are still having children. Oh Lord, I don't know what this next generation of children will be like. You'll be hearing things like your child should not know your hand with pain. Your child should not clinical. Please don't beat my child. You're going to traumatize the boy. All of that is overcompensating for how our parents overdid discipline. I will not even say they did not overdo it. Like you hear some stories of discipline, so-called discipline, than the Gen X's and the boomers did on we millennials, and it is genuinely overdone. It is too much. It is traumatic, yes. But now we are raising children that lack discipline in every sense of it. I'm going to share a story. And that day, I was pregnant at the time, and pregnancy almost I cried that day for some reason because I was like, God, I beg, let me not raise a child that will be like this. Because what? So I was craving what that day. I can't even remember. So my husband took me out, like, oh yeah, come and go and buy something to eat because I couldn't cook at the time and stuff. And then seated in the restaurants, licking my ice cream, I see this boy that is around 5 or 6 years old, seated with this guy that looked like, I don't know, in his 20s or early 30s, thereabouts, seated with him, and they were eating from the same plate and to swallow. I can't look, I say, in my head, I was like, very nice uncle. This must be his uncle or something. Maybe brought him out to come and eat. Tell me why a woman comes into the restaurant and is looking around, looking around. Where is Jason? Because I be like all of us millennials now. All the boys that are born with the past 5 years and upwards, Jason is there. Jason, I thought I've told you not to be doing that. I was so confused. And then turns out the boy was with the mom. I think she has a shop in that mall where the restaurant is. Left the mom's shop, came to the restaurant, saw a random stranger eating something he wanted, sat down with the stranger and started eating the stranger's food. So the stranger, being nice, decided, it's a small boy. Oh yeah, continue it. So they said, oh yeah, join me now. Let's be eating. The mother now came. Come on, wash your hand. Why will you do that, Jason? Can't drag the boy. Say make go wash your hand from eba abi na pounded yam wey dey chop. Oh yeah, let's be going. The boy starts throwing a tantrum. No, eh, pouting and throwing his head around. And the mother was like, "Don't do that. No." Oh my God. In my head, I just heard Mommy Mercy's voice. Oh Lord. Hey, you people know. Millennials, we understand. You do that kind of thing. The beating you will collect that day when you get home. Your one that will not even see anything. No. In that public, as you're embarrassing her, just continue. When you get home, the beating you will collect. Even if somebody offer you the food, no be you go meet the person, they offer you, your hand will be shaking to collect the food. I was so embarrassed. I was so sad because I'm like, you are raising a boy that lacks self control enough not to even care for his own safety. What if he gets poisoned? What if he gets drugged and kidnapped? Like, really? Sitting with a random stranger and eating his food. Just, God. So we are overcompensating for the fact that some of us had parents that overbeat us. I know they did, but the problem now is not that you will now stop beating children totally, or even if it's not beating, like firm discipline. I think I can't remember my dad ever flogging me, but my dad never really beat me. He never did. I don't think my dad ever flogged me. But the punishment we give you, number one, you collect your phone. Number one, he will ground you. And my dad's punishment is fasting and prayer. You will pray for that spirit that came over you to leave your body. At least if you don't want to beat, there's some sort of other forms of discipline you can do. And then because we millennials grew up so much with this, it takes a village to raise a child. And I will not even lie, some of the aunties and the uncles and the neighbors, their own too was too much at some point. They did too much. Matter we no consign them, they will chook mouth. Some went as far as or more. Let's just leave that matter. I get it. But now people cannot even correct your child without you as an adult throwing a tantrum. Something happened to a friend of my husband. She works in a school, in one of all these body schools here where I stay. Not really body sha, but averagely body school. And then you know how they have cabinet where all the children keep their lunch boxes and stuff and their bags. So this boy in the class decides to throw his own bag on the floor and his plates and every just scattered it. So she told this boy, Jason, pick up your school bag and your lunch box and put it on the shelf. The boy said, no, I'm not going to do it. She's like, please pick up your bag, pick up your lunchbox, and put it where it's supposed to be. He said, no, I'm not going to, like, legit train a tantrum and stuff. And then she pulled the boy up, like lifted him up from his seat. Stand up. Told him stand. He refused to stand. Then pulled him up. Stand. Then sort of like um forced him, not forced necessarily, but told him, pick up your bag and arrange it. If not, you leave the class and I'll send you to the principal's office or something. Then the boy starts crying, starts throwing a tantrum, start this one, that one, that one. She got there, just left him and decided to carry the bag herself and just put it. Tell me why this boy came with his parents the next day, accusing with policemen actually, came with policemen as accusing her of child molestation, I be child harassment, not molestation, harassment, that she traumatized their son. He said you yelled at him. In fact, he cannot come to school today because he's so traumatized. He was not able to get out of bed. He has been crying since yesterday. I'm like, are you serious? So we are raising we have overcompensated so much for the fact that our parents beat us too much that we don't now want to touch children at all. Children are the parents in the house now. You will see where is the child that is telling the mother, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to get. And the mother too is like, all right, Jason, no problem. But we don't, when we don't shout at people, Jason. Nah, 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 nah. Jason is shouting. I'm like, no, Jason, stop it. Don't do that. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're like, he's just a boy. Ha. Okay. Oh, it is where God will help us. So now I'm telling you, Dio, don't beat my child. Don't touch my child. Don't talk to my child. Don't. It's overcompensation for the fact that where our parents failed, but we are now trying not to fail there, but we are now over failing in another aspect of failing. And this one is, I don't want to say it's sort of sensitive, but yeah, sort of. But I will try my best to still make it unsensitive or desensitive or not so sensitive. Religion, you discover that um because we millennials and some of we is it Gen Zs now? Yes, and those coming behind had parents that forced us to go to church, forced us to fast, forced us to pray, by force, you must tie scarf. By force, you are not allowed to wear trouser. You're not kini con. You're not. They overdid it. So now we have people that don't like church at all. They don't go to church. Your name is Emmanuel. And you have not entered church since year 2020, what now? Not 2020, say 2019. That's before lockdown, yes. Since 2019. So how many years ago? Like 6 years ago is when you entered church last. And even before then, no be say you really they go, you go just breeze in, you come when choir is singing. Once choir finish singing, you carry your bag and you're going home. You don't like church again because you did too much of church growing up and it was not from personal choice or, oh, I met a God I love. It was from mommy said, daddy said, by force, by force. And this one, I feel is even more heavy on pastors' kids. Many preachers' kids had to do church a little. I don't want to say a little too much, but plenty, plenty too much that they now got so frustrated. So by the time they entered on and they had the choice now not to do church or do God, they're like, yes, finally freedom. I feel it's lower compensation because God is good, church is good. Then, not just that, some of us also have trauma from experiences of church people, pastors that failed you, pastors' wives that did too much and ruined your reputation by lies and things like incomplete picture, all of that. And it has now bred a frustration towards religion and anything that looks like it. So you hear people that say, that's how all these church people used to do. Pastors are all pastors are fake. All of these miracles are lies. Prophecies are lies. Because maybe the church you were going when you were small, pastor went and prophesied that you were a witch and I actually saw that one on Twitter and it touched me somewhere because in a way I could understand her pain and honestly, it is understandable. Pastor prophesied that she's a witch. And she's confused as hell. Like, how did they even used to be a witch? And I confess now, prophesied that she was a witch, and she's the reason why. Is it that her mom didn't have another child on top of her, or something like that? That she's the one that has been taking away her mom's pregnancies and stuff, and all of that. And she got sent to go and live with one auntie somewhere because the parents believed and ever since her relationship with her parent never remained the same because of this prophecy that this pastor gave. Please tell me why somebody like that will not hate church. So I get it, but I just want you to know that it is you overcompensating for the fact that you have bad experiences with church or you did too much of church growing up. Not too much. I don't think church. You did a lot of church growing up, so you got tired of it and you're just like, nah, not for me. Or you had bad experiences and you're like, nah, not for me. There's such a thing as balance. So if you're in that shoe, you are overcompensating. So something is wrong that you have to fix up. Mm? Last is esteem problem. You discover sometimes that people that actually have low self-esteem are the loudest. Sometimes they are the ones that enter their shell totally. They are shy. They don't want anything near crowd. But I recently discovered that sometimes people that not only have low self-esteem but are extremely shy become extra talkative when they're in public because they're trying their best not to be the askewed person, not to be the off-point person. So they try so much to be extroverted, even though that's not them. And then they go home socially drained. They don't want to leave their house for the next 3 months until the next outing. So if you're like that, you're overcompensating. You need to fix the actual problem, which is the low self-esteem or the shyness or the timidity. That's what you need to fix. Overfix it necessarily, like over now go overboard. You get it. Yeah, so esteem. I also discovered this in workplaces. People that are scared of maybe losing their, not necessarily losing their jobs, but like, oh, I want to prove a point. I want to prove that I'm good at my work. They're always the ones jumping ahead of. It's not always absolute. It doesn't mean everybody that does it is overcompensated. There are people that are just like that. But you that I'm talking to, you know that deep down you're scared, you are shy, you are timid, you actually feel you're not worthy of that job, or you feel you want to prove it. But yeah, and you now end up overdoing, and overdoing basically at work. You're overcompensating for the inadequacies you feel. If I've mentioned any of your case now, just put it in your left hand and hold it and be thinking about it. The ones where you have been overcompensating and you are trying to pay for traumatic experiences in a way, and you get it. Hold it in your left hand, because next week I'm now going to talk about how all of these things can be balanced out, how you can um fix up in a way that you don't go to the other extreme of things. Yeah, so bye. I'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. I'll see you next week. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely week. Enjoy work, enjoy God, enjoy church, enjoy family, enjoy fellowship. And if you live alone, enjoy yourself. Yeah. Bye. See you.